Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, My Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least when makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Speaking of cheap makeup, today is all about dupes. I have never before done a dupes video. That is because I usually don't mess with high-end makeup too awful much. I really do adore my drugstore makeup. But I was looking for a different kind of video idea, and I had watched a couple of dupe videos over on YouTube, well, here on YouTube, I reckon, and I just kind of got inspired, and it seems like everybody does the same dupes kind of over and over again. And I was like, I know of a couple dupes that nobody talks about. So I am very, very excited. I cannot wait to share all of this stuff with you guys. I actually have everything in today's video on my face right now. One half of my face is high-end and one half of my face is drugstore. Let me put my hair back. Can you guys guess which end is which? I don't think you can. I don't think Mr. Hubby couldn't, and neither could Shawnee Bear, so I don't think that you guys can either. As always, there are never any filters or edits to my videos. What you see is what you get. I got one ring light sitting right here in front of me, so no fancy lighting either. This is really what my skin looks like right now. I've had my makeup on for around 3 hours at this point, so it is a little bit lived in. My eyes are doing pretty good today. They're not super watery, but there is a little bit of running going on. So if my under eyes look kind of terrible, that's why. They're actually holding up pretty well though. So I hope that you guys have just a little while to sit back, relax, hang out with me for a bit, get yourself a big old cup of something to drink, maybe even a snack, and let's dive into some really exciting, fun new dupes. So the first thing, and at the end of the video, I will disclose to you, I will reveal which side is high-end and which side is drugstore. So the first thing, we're going to go in order by how I put it on my face, like in order of how I put it on my face. So the first thing I used was color correctors. Where did I put that other color corrector? Okay, so the first thing I used was color correctors, and I actually really enjoy this color corrector. This is the Tarte Colored Clay CC Under Eye Corrector. It is just in the shade light medium. There is a fly flying around somewhere, so if you see something like a little black dart through the camera, it's a fly. I'm gonna have Mr. Hubby come get it here in just a little bit. But this is an under eye corrector. It is fabulous. It is a really beautiful, thick, kind of sticky texture. It reminds me very much of my Lottie London Bright Bounce under eye concealer. Same kind of texture, but this has a gorgeous peach hue to it. It goes on, it's got a great amount of coverage, and it really does brighten and conceal those dark circles. But this goes for $28. It's expensive. I picked this up at Burke's and I got it for a fraction of that price. But a really great alternative is this thing right here. This is the Hard Candy just color corrector. It's in the shade Peach. I like this one because it is a sponge tip applicator. It's not as messy to apply. Another reason I really enjoy this is because it has a much more hydrating texture. Whereas the Tarte one is very thick and sticky, this one just melts into the skin. It has a great amount of coverage as well. I think the color of it is really beautiful. I'll swatch the other one against it so you guys know what I'm talking about. But this one is just, it's definitely fuller coverage, but it's just got a really sticky kind of heavy texture. And I find that it really likes to sink into the lines under my eyes. Whereas the Hard Candy one doesn't do that. It just kind of quickly absorbs into my skin, doesn't sink into my fine lines. It still gives me the brightening, still gives me a little bit of extra coverage, and it still gives me the color correcting thing, but it just isn't so heavy on my under eye. So I really prefer the Hard Candy one. And winner, this one goes for $5.97. So already a gigantic savings here. And this one is so good. The next thing I put on my face was foundation. I didn't use any kind of primers or anything like that today. Just wanted the makeup to speak for itself. So I have two very different but very similar foundations here. The high end, of course, is the Givenchy Prisme Libre Glow foundation. This is probably one of my very favorite foundations of all time. It is phenomenal. I have mine in the shade 3C to 40. It is fantastic. You've got a really beautiful medium kind of coverage. It goes on, it feels hydrating, it's lightweight. It just gives you a really beautiful kind of skin-like slash glowy finish. It just looks really natural on the skin. It's fantastic, but it is $52 freaking dollars, which is insanely expensive for any kind of makeup product, let alone a foundation. As amazing as this is, I think that this one is so similar. This is the Covergirl True Blend Hydrating Foundation. Y'all, this is phenomenal. I absolutely adore this. I actually picked this up at Walmart the last time that I went, and I have not been able to put it down since. I have mine in the shade L3. It says it is a hydrating foundation with a smoothing natural finish. I agree with that 100%, y'all. I think both sides of my face look freaking identical. The dry down is exactly the same. The finish is exactly the same. I will say that I think that the Covergirl gives you just a little bit more coverage. Again, I used exactly the same amount on each side of my face. I used 1 pump of the Givenchy and 1 pump of the Covergirl. And again, I think that the Covergirl and the Givenchy both look really beautiful, but they're just so similar. And the best thing about it is the Covergirl is only $10.49. Y'all, you absolutely cannot beat it. The Covergirl has a red cap foundation that is very similar to this. It's the True Blend as well, but I think it's just for like normal skin. It's not hydrating. The white cap though is where it's at. It is absolutely phenomenal. Lightweight on the skin, gorgeous natural finish. You get a really beautiful amount of coverage. Like I said, I could go on and on about it all day, but they're so good. And the thing I like about this one is actually this one has a better undertone than this one. This one pulls just a little bit yellow on me, whereas this one is an absolute perfect skin match for me. If you have trouble finding good pink toned foundations, if you are a pink lady like I am, a lot of times foundations, they pull yellow, they just pull really weird on your skin, and it can be really difficult to find that true kind of pinky foundation. This one is so good. I absolutely adore it. And again, I have that in shade L3, and y'all, it's only $10.49. Like, you can't beat it. $52, $10.49. Gigantic savings there, and they're literally identical. So good. The next thing I used was contour, and this one I am so excited for. So y'all, everybody and their mama has been talking about this recently. This is the Flower Beauty Low Light Liquid Contour Wand. I have mine in the shade Light. It is absolutely beautiful. It is a gorgeous contour product. I do have a couple of issues with the formula though, because I have seen a couple of reviews on this product, and people said that it was difficult to blend out. You have to really blend it out as soon as you put it on, or it dries down and it doesn't move. Y'all, that is so true. I used this in one of my last videos, and I made the mistake of kind of applying it everywhere and then blending it out, and I almost couldn't get it blended out. This is one of those things that you have to place and blend, and you know, we just don't do our makeup like that. So a lot of times we'll forget, and then you have to scrub at your face to get it to blend out. Though I really adore the color of this, I think it's a fantastic formula as long as you can remember to place and blend. There's nothing wrong with this product other than the fact that it dries down a little bit quickly. Now, it's not super duper expensive. It's still a little bit pricey. I think this goes for $14, almost $15. Yeah, $14.49. So you get a good amount of product in here. A little bit will go a long way for you. So not an insanely overpriced product, but I found this on Amazon. Now, this is the Hello Kiss Contour Wand. It's basically the same exact thing. The packaging is incredibly similar. I got both of these products in the lightest shades available. It has the same kind of mechanism. You twist it on to get the product out. You twist it the other way, and it kind of shuts it off. And y'all, the colors are dang near identical. So there is Flower Beauty, and here is Hello Kiss. I will say that I dare say I like the Hello Kiss formula better because it stays creamy longer. It doesn't feel quite as stiff on my face. It blends out a lot easier. It also comes in a couple of different shades, and the best part is it's half price. It's half price of what the Flower Beauty wand is, and you get basically the same exact product. The colors are, they're just exactly, they're so similar, guys. And whereas the Flower Beauty one is $15, this one is $9. Flower Beauty goes for $14.49. The Hello Kiss goes for $8.99. Well, so maybe not half price, but just about. So you're saving a lot of money. You're getting the exact same product, and y'all, it's just good. On top of that, like I said, this you don't have to place and blend. It's really easy to just kind of dot it all over the face and then go in with your brush or your sponge and blend it out afterwards. You don't have to like babysit this one as much as you do the Flower Beauty one. Now, if you have oily skin, you might enjoy the Flower Beauty one better just because it's not as creamy as of a formula, and it does go on and dry down completely, so you don't really have to worry about it moving around on you. But y'all, I set my face anyway, and I have super dry skin, so any available moisture on my face is just gonna get sucked up anyway. So this really does do me a lot of favors. I have this in the Flower Beauty one in the shade Light. I have the Hello Kiss one in the shade 01. Y'all, absolutely fantastic. The next thing, let's talk about setting powder. This one I'm very excited about as well. So the setting powder I want to talk about today from the high-end version is the Givenchy Prisme Libre. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that, but it's the Prisme Libre loose setting powder. I have mine in the shade Rose, I believe. Yeah, the shade number 3. Y'all, this is probably my very favorite powder in the entire world. It is so gorgeous on the skin. It stays beautiful all day long. It doesn't get crusty or dusty on the under eyes. It is brightening and beautiful and lightweight, and it's $59. Ugh. It's just $59 for a powder is just like, oh my, it's like, ugh, it's like I got stabbed in the heart, right? Because I fall in love with you, and I did receive this as a gift, so I didn't purchase this, but y'all, it is one of those powders that if I ever really run out of it, I'm gonna have to go to war with myself and battle it out to figure out if I can repurchase it or not. Because it's one of those powders that I just never not want to be without. I need this in my collection. I need to have this in my collection. It looks so incredibly beautiful on the under eyes. It is lightweight, it's brightening, it's everything you want a fantastic powder to be. That $59 price tag, though, is a lot. And as much as I love this powder, I can admit to myself and to you all that really nothing is going to be as fantastic as this powder is. It really just is a feat, right? It is truly incredible. But I do have another powder in my collection that does pretty much what the Givenchy does for a much lower price tag. That is the Hard Candy Chilling Wonder Loose setting powder. Guys, this I pick up at Walmart, whereas the Givenchy is $59. The Hard Candy is, how much is this? This is $6.96, so $7, and you get a really great amount of product. Now, the packaging is nowhere near as nice. It doesn't have a pink tint to it, but it does have a slightly rosy, peachy kind of tint to it. So it does go on the under eyes, and it does brighten, and it does give you just a little bit of glow on the under eyes. And because this is a hydrating powder, it reminds me very much of that hydrating Becca powder. I think that is what this was built to dupe, but it just goes on the under eyes, and it looks so beautiful and so lightweight. When I'm having a really bad kind of dry under eye day, this is the powder that I usually go for. It's got a little bit of a cooling sensation to it, so it feels very refreshing on the under eyes as well. I love this powder. Does it 100% stack up to the Givenchy powder? No, it doesn't. But is it a pretty close second? I think that it is. I think that if you are on a, on a drugstore budget like I am, and really just need a fantastic loose setting powder, I think that this is the best loose powder option at the drugstore. I also really love the Lottie London Ready Set Go translucent loose setting powder. That's fantastic as well. But this one has just a little bit, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has just a little bit of that peachy kind of undertone to it that gives you a little bit of extra brightening and a little bit of that extra color correction under the eyes. That is very, very similar to what the Givenchy does. And y'all, there is an insane price difference to both of these powders. You've got one that's 60 bucks and one that's $7. I mean, you absolutely cannot beat it. And really the quality of the powders, it's very, very close. Very, very close. The next thing, let's talk about concealer. So I have two different concealers today. One is from KVD and one is from WetNWild. So the KVD concealer that I want to talk about is my Lock-It concealer. I adore this concealer. I have mine in the shade Light 1 Neutral. This is the fullest coverage, most amazing, like, ba-bam kind of concealer. It hides everything. If you want a bright under eye, this is going to give it to you. If you need to cover dark circles, this is going to do it for you. It's fantastic. Now, this is discontinued, but you can still get it off of Amazon. I found it on Amazon for $19. Which, again, it's not super, super expensive for a concealer, but it's definitely not drugstore pricing. And I do think that this concealer is worth $19. It is a beautiful, beautiful concealer. But my WetNWild Incognito concealer is almost identical. I will say that the KVD has just a little bit more coverage than my WetNWild does. But y'all, the WetNWild Incognito concealer, how much is this one? Incognito concealer in the shade Fair Beige is $5.99, so $6. Y'all, it is absolutely fantabulous. Brightening, really beautiful, high coverage. It goes on, it blends super easily. It just looks so flawless on the under eyes. It's not super flat matte either. Whereas the KVD is a pretty matte concealer. The Incognito concealer has just a little bit of not glow or anything like that, but it's not as flat matte as the KVD is. So it still leaves a little bit of life on the under eyes. Like I said, I'm wearing both of these concealers today. Can you guess which side is which? Probably not, because they're both almost identical. I really do enjoy both of these. Like I said, I lucked out and picked this up. Most if not all of these high-end products came from Burke's. I found this at Burke's. I absolutely adore this color, but y'all, the Fair Beige from WetNWild is so super close. And again, it's like almost half the price of it. So you absolutely cannot beat it. I do want to swatch them for you really quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the Incognito. And then this is the KVD. And of course, the KVD has better packaging, things like that. But y'all, they're so similar. The colors are so incredibly similar. The only difference I will say is that the KVD is more of a neutral undertone, and the WetNWild has more of like a pinky peachy, very, very light pinky peachy kind of undertone, which again, works perfectly for my skin tone. But y'all, those colors are so incredibly similar, and you can see even in the swatches that the coverage is almost identical as well. You absolutely cannot beat it. I want to go into a little bit of a blush situation really, really quickly as well. So the expensive blush I want to talk about today is the Natasha Denona Cupid Blush Duo. I got this from BoxyCharm, and quite honestly, I don't reach for this very often just because the highlight is a little bit deep for me. It just goes on and it's just a little bit deep. It leaves a little bit of a cast on my skin, and it's honestly just not my favorite. But the blush formula is super pretty. I do think that it's a really beautiful color. Natasha Denona, there is a reason that her products are as expensive as they are. Some of them, I think a lot of her stuff is just insanely overpriced. And this duo goes for $30. So again, especially when I don't use half of it, absolutely not. I would never purchase this on my own. But after receiving it from BoxyCharm, I do think that this blush is absolutely fantastic. It has a great amount of luminosity to it, so it goes onto the skin and it gives your cheeks so much life and kind of dimension. It's a really beautiful pigmented formula, but it's also buildable as well. It blends out really beautifully. It has a very thin, lightweight kind of texture. It almost feels oily, but then it dries down and it doesn't leave any kind of greasiness on the skin. It just completely and totally absorbs into the skin and looks so fresh and beautiful and glowy. Absolutely gorgeous. But again, it's $30, and on top of that, I can only use half of it. So, the Lottie London liquid blushes, these are the sweet blushes. These are absolutely phenomenal. They come in 1,000,001 different colors. Now, I couldn't find an exact shade dupe for the Natasha Denona Cupid blush, but this one on the cheeks looks almost identical. Again, I have one on one side and one on the other, and you cannot tell me that my cheeks don't look absolutely identical. This is in the shade, what is it? Soft Rose. So this is in the shade Soft Rose. And though it doesn't have the same amount of luminosity that the Natasha Denona does, you can definitely go over it with a highlight or a cheek topper, something like that. But the colors are almost identical. The dry down and finish is very, very similar as well. Like I said, this one isn't quite as glowy as the Natasha Denona is. But y'all, once it dries down, all it leaves you with is just this really beautiful kind of, not glossy, but luminous finish. And because this one is a cream product, it sets down beautifully, but it has, again, it has just a little bit of that luminosity, that slight kind of glow in the formula, and they both end up looking so incredibly similar, especially on the cheeks. A lot of times you kind of get caught up in the very minute differences in shade when it comes to certain products, but 9 times out of 10, once you apply it to your face, those very, very minute differences disappear. And really what you're left with is base color, right? And the base colors on these are so super, super similar. The Natasha Denona is just a touch more peachy than the Lottie London is. I would say the Lottie London is just a little bit more rose, a little bit more pink. But again, as soon as they get on the cheeks, they look absolutely identical. And best part of it is the Lottie London, you can get an entire and you'll use this whole thing because it's beautifully pigmented. Again, pigmented but buildable as well. Goes on beautifully with both a brush and a sponge. So the Natasha Denona is $29.99 and the Lottie London is $6.48. So big savings there. And quite honestly, even though the Natasha Denona has beautiful packaging, it's clunky, it's chunky, it's hard to store, especially if you're trying to store it with your other little tubes of liquid blush. And this is just so easy to put in a drawer, stack in a cup, whatever, however you store your liquid blushes, and it's fantastic. And Lottie London comes in so many different colors. They're so super versatile. I absolutely adore these. Yeah, and it's like $7. Cannot beat it. Absolutely cannot beat it. We're getting to the end of today's video. I want to talk about some bronzer next. So one of my very favorite bronzers that I've been playing with recently is the LYS No Limits Matte Bronzer. Now, this is I love the packaging on this. Again, I picked this up from BoxyCharm, and it is spectacular. I have mine in the shade Harmony, and it is the silkiest, smoothest, it's a fantastic bronzer. I love the color of this. It goes on and it's got a little bit of that cooler kind of neutral undertone to it. So it goes on, it gives you a little bit of shape and adds warmth to the face, does everything you want a good bronzer to do, and it's just easy to use. It blends really beautifully, super matte kind of finish, so it gives you an almost airbrushed finish on the skin. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, LYS is a more affordable Sephora brand, so a lot of Sephora products are super expensive. This one still expensive, but not like insanely so. I think that this bronzer goes for around $19. Yeah, so this is $19, which again is not incredibly expensive. Definitely a little bit pricier than Drugstore, but not insanely so. and it is a fantastic product. If you have been interested in the LYS No Limits matte bronzers, I highly, highly recommend. They're fantastic. I actually just picked up the LYS No Limits cream bronzer stick in the shade Harmony with this month's BoxyCharm. So as soon as that gets here, I'll be doing a review on that as well. But I adore this bronzer. It is fantabulous. I love the packaging. It's super cute and unique and fun. Adore it. But a really great dupe is the L'Oreal Bronze Please bronzer in the shade 4. And this one isn't that much more affordable. So whereas the LYS is $19, this one is $12.99. So you're only saving around $5, but $5 is $5, and you do get a really great amount of product in here. I adore the packaging on the L'Oreal bronzers as well. They definitely feel nice. They feel luxe, especially where drugstore packaging is concerned. And the shade, again, it does the same thing as the LYS bronzer does. It's got a little bit of that more neutral undertone, but it still brings warmth to the face. I actually really enjoy the L'Oreal bronzer because it has more of that red kind of undertone to it, whereas the LYS is just a little bit more orange. You can see that the L'Oreal has definitely more of a red undertone to it, but they're so incredibly similar. It's insane. Again, I have them both on my face. You cannot tell the difference. They're beautifully pigmented. If you are just kind of starting out and are new to makeup, or pigmented products kind of scare you a little bit, I would recommend the L'Oreal because it is just a bit more gently pigmented. So you have a little bit more leeway with it. You can kind of go ham with it a little bit more and not end up with like blotches of bronzer all over your face. But they're both beautifully matte. They both blend effortlessly. The colors are pretty much identical, and you know, they're not super far away in price, but $5 is $5, and on top of that, you can pick this up at your local Walmart. So this is absolutely fantastic. And then last but not least, I want to talk about highlighters. And this one I am super excited for because I haven't heard anybody talk about a lot of these dupes, but this one for certain. So the high-end version is the Stila Heaven's Hue highlight in the shade Transcendence. And this is such a stunning bronzer. It is, if I can get it open, packaging is absolutely fire. Stila is a very high-end brand, and their packaging definitely reflects that. It is absolutely gorgeous. You open it up, and the compact is just beautiful. You get a nice full-size mirror, and this is your actual product. Now, this is such a spectacular highlight. If you have been wanting to play with highlight, but you don't want something that's going to look like a metallic stripe on your skin, you don't want something that's going to be super obvious, this is the most gorgeously glowy, subtle highlight ever. Again, I picked this up at Burke's, and y'all, it's so good. I think I paid $12 for this, but originally I think it goes for around $34. Yeah, so originally this goes for $34. It is still available on the Stila website, and it's available at Sephora as well. $34 is really expensive for a highlight, and especially for one that is as subtle as this one is. But I can honestly say that I have never played with a highlight that has quite the subtle. It's heavenly. It looks ethereal on the cheeks. It just, ooh, my mascara is running because my eyes are watering like crazy. Gonna see if I can try to get this video done before my makeup like literally jumps off my face. But it is such a gorgeously glowy kind of highlight. So that's what it looks like swatched on the skin, and then you swatch it on the hand, and it just is so beautifully glowy. There's no glitter to it. There's nothing. It's so subtle and glowy and ethereal, and it's purple, but it gives you just the tiniest hint of like a purple gleam on the skin. It doesn't even really look purple. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It has a putty-like texture to it, so it doesn't look dry or heavy on the face at all. Super, super lightweight, very sheer as well, so it doesn't leave any kind of cast on the skin either. This is a gorgeous product. If I was a millionaire, I would pick up one of these in every single shade, just because I really do adore this formula that much. But I was, again, hunting on Amazon, and I came across this highlight, and I was like, this is the, I don't even know how to say it. It's the Lun. It's the diamond highlight. I picked this up off of Amazon. This was $8.98, y'all. Wow, 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 wow. So this is what the packaging looks like. I actually think the packaging is super, super nice. It's got kind of a double layer kind of thing on it. So I don't know. It just looks very, very nice. It feels heavy. It feels well made. It feels expensive. You open it up, you get a full-size mirror, and this is what the highlight looks like. Now I do want to compare them side by side because I think they're so super similar. Can you guys see that? This one looks just a little bit more frosty, but I'm telling you, on the skin, they look so identical. Absolutely gorgeous. So this one, again, is $9.98, and it has that same kind of really beautiful, very light, ethereal, just really gorgeous kind of putty texture to it as well. So there's where I swatched the Stila, and then this is the Lun. Y'all, they are literally identical on the skin, and they just absolutely, they make you glow in such a subtle, lit from within kind of way. I have it all over my face, and the thing that I like most about this is it doesn't look like a metallic, stripe on the skin. It just looks like your skin is glowing from the inside. It just looks so incredibly natural. It's just a subtle, glowy luminosity that you can kind of dust on everywhere, and it just brings your skin back to life. Absolutely phenomenal. I really, really think that the Amazon one is just as good as the Stila one, and on top of that, they had 1,000,001 different colors in this. Guys, as always, I'm going to have everything I talked about in today's video in the description box below, along with the tags for all my other social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. If you're wondering what is on my face today, I used all this stuff, but for my eyes, I used, what did I use for my eyes today? Oh, I used the ColourPop Wild Child palette. This one is such a good one. It's an oldie, but a goodie. That's what she looks like. I did, of course, do a TikTok on today's makeup look. It turned out absolutely gorgeous. I'll have the link for that in the description box as well. Y'all, I hope that today's video was helpful to you in some small way. All in all, the high-end face, the high-end side of my face, costed $253.48. The drugstore side of my face costed $66.85. That means we have a total savings of $186.63. That is absolutely massive. And especially when you get the exact, you get the exact same finish on both sides of the face. Have you guys figured out which side is high-end and which side is drugstore? This side is the high-end side. This side is the drugstore side. And y'all, they look literally identical. Again, I've had this makeup on for a good long while now, and it still looks phenomenal. I am so happy with all of the dupes that I was able to find. Again, I hope that it was helpful for you in some small way. I hope that I was able to give you some new information. Dupes definitely are not a new concept, but I do think that I talked about some ones that I haven't heard, at least I haven't heard anybody else talk about yet. Guys, I love you so very much. As always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera, playing with some dupes, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. And until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.